My name is Kwabena Chenchen, but many thanks for joining us here on News. Let's start off with the story about 50 members of the recently dismissed recruits of the Ghana Armed Forces, who we are told have gathered. They have actually picketed at the NDC headquarters to protest their dismissals. My colleague Derek Ekosam has been following the dismissed recruits and is joining me on phone now with the very latest on this. So, Derek, good morning. Thanks for joining us. So, tell us what really you see there. I'm speaking of what these recruits have been up to this entire morning.
Well, Kwabena, it all started around 8 a.m. when these former recruits of the Ghana Military Academy went to the Obra Sport, and from there they trooped to the NDC headquarters where I currently am. They've been here since 9 a.m. According to them, last week they came here to petition the party as regards their dismissal, which they say is unlawful and unfair. According to them, they were just asked around December to go home for a Christmas break, something they did not expect. And so since January, they have been at home. They were told, or they heard bad news that they had been dismissed. And so they are here this morning to follow up on a petition they brought to the ruling National Democratic Congress Party headquarters last week to see what has happened to that petition. They claim that from here, they might head to other political parties. They are asking that they be readmitted into the army. And so I can say about 35 young men here with sudden faces. Some of them are incensed, and they tell me they feel they have not been treated fairly.
Echo, let me find out. Any reasons, did they give any reasons as to why they chose to picket at the headquarters of the ruling party as the NDC? Really, what role did the NDC play in their dismissal?
Well, Kwabena, according to them, they feel that since this is the ruling party and they would want their position forwarded to the presidency, they believe that their best port of call is the NDC headquarters here. And so they know that once their petition gets through to the party hierarchy, it would also be forwarded to the president, who is also the flag bearer of the ruling National Democratic Congress.
Have they considered other options, for instance, say getting in touch with, for instance, maybe the Interior Ministry or any other state agency that might have jurisdiction in this particular regard? Have they tried that? When you spoke to them, did they say anything of such sort?
Well, I asked them whether they have contacted the Interior Ministry or the Ministry of Defense, which the Ghana Army falls under, and they say that this is their first action. They want to meet the executives of the ruling National Democratic Congress first, and so if this fails to yield any results, then they may try other options like getting through to the Ministries of Defense and Interior.
Okay, so that is to suggest that there's going to be a series of events.
Yes, from what I gather, there will be a series of events. So according to them, they are readmitted into the army because according to them, they have been treated unfairly. They feel that they were unfairly sacked. That's what I'm taking from them.
Okay, and clearly suggesting that they are going to embark on a series of events. They are starting off with the NDC headquarters. Earlier, you mentioned that they planned on picketing at some other party offices as well. Is that the first point? And then they probably roll out to other areas?
Well, this is their first port of call. They tell me that they would wait for some time to see if this picketing will yield any results. If it doesn't yield any other results, then they may head towards all the other political parties. They say they are not relenting in their efforts to get readmitted into the army, and that they will pursue this matter to a reasonable conclusion.
Okay, finally, before you go, Eko, let me find out, have they been received by anyone from the party office, and what has the person been saying?
The main gate to the party office is locked. I gather that no party executive is in there as of now, and so they are still hovering around the party offices to see whether or not they could find somebody to speak to. But as of now, they have not been allowed entry into the party office. Right.
Derek Ekosam, many thanks for that update. We'll be coming back to you a bit later on for a lot more. And indeed, we'll be bringing you visuals, live footages of what is currently ongoing at the NDC headquarters, where we are told that about 35 persons who were actually dismissed in this military recruitment issue, quite a number of them have picketed at the NDC's headquarters there, and they seem to have some resentments over their dismissal. They say is unlawful, and they claim that they did petition the NDC to intervene in the issue. They've come back for a response on that particular issue. And indeed, according to our reporter, we understand that this is just one in a series of events that they plan on embarking on, including picketing at other offices of the at the offices of other political parties, as well as the other state agencies that directly or indirectly have a link to their situation. We'll keep an eye on that and bring you a lot more. But let's now turn our attention to some politics. And the NPP's Brown-Ahafo Region youth organizer Kwame Bafo has filed a motion at the Supreme Court to stop the limited voter registration exercise slated for April 28th this year. Now, the motion on the limited voters registration is scheduled for hearing on April 6th this year. Mr. Bafo says he's of the firm conviction that until the final determination of the case by the courts, the limited registration exercise by the EC must not be allowed. Joining me on phone now is Kwame Bafo, who is the regional executive of the opposition New Patriotic Party. He's joining us now from the Brown-Ahafo region. Mr. Bafo, good morning. Thank you very much for joining us here on News Desk.
Good morning.
So, one would want to ask why really you would want to try this again. Clearly, you've tried it a couple of times. The issue has been thrown out of court. Why the need to seek redress one more time?
Thank you. Setting the record straight, my case that was filed on the 19th of February has not been thrown out. The case is still pending. It's rather the Abu Ramadan case that has been thrown out. Even in Abu Ramadan case, the substantive matter has not been thrown out, but rather the injunction which was filed to restrain the Electoral Commission from organizing the Abu Akwa by-election was thrown out. In my case, which was filed on the 19th of February, the writ of summons was served on the Electoral Commission on 23rd of February. And they have 14 days to file the statement of defense. And as of now, the statutory period within which the Electoral Commission ought to file their statement of defense has elapsed, and my checks or a search conducted at the registry of the court revealed that they have not even complied with the rules. So at the moment, there's no defense at the Supreme Court filed by the Electoral Commission, and we are taking steps to also file some process in respect of that. And in that case, I'm seeking, among other relief, that the current register compiled by the Electoral Commission and which is intended to be used in the 2016 general election is not fit for any purpose. I'm also seeking a relief from the court that the current register contains names of foreigners, minors, deceased persons, and so on, who are constitutionally ineligible to vote in this year's election. And for that matter, the court should declare same as null and void, which is still pending. And I've just filed the injunction yesterday that since the Electoral Commission have not filed their defense to the substantive case, they cannot go on to conduct the limited registration unless the substantive matter is determined on its merit. And this is the case they have not filed anything. So I will be alone in the court fighting to see what the judges will say on the case, including the injunction. And I don't know when they are being served with the injunction whether they will respond to it or not. It's over to them.
Some of the conviction, you just deliberately want to sabotage the process. Really? Why would you do that?
What process? About the election process?
Exactly.
Now I'm looking for a credible register, and this is the case the Electoral Commission own commission. The findings of the VCRC committee report are the true reflection of the weaknesses or flaws of the current register. So I'm looking that the Electoral Commission should get us a credible register so that peace will prevail at the end of the day.
And clearly the Electoral Commission tells us that there have been steps to ensure that the register that is going to be used is credible. They, for instance, ask people like yourself and your party.
This same Electoral Commission is saying that it is arbitrary or this is against the law for them to remove names from the voter register. So what steps are they taking to clean the register?
I don't recall hearing the EC say that exactly. All they do say is that when the time is due and you have evidence to back your claim that person A or person B is not fit to be in this register, provide the evidence, and then the person's name is going to be expunged from the register. Really, what's so difficult to understand about that?
They are saying that currently they do admit that over 600 people names in the register, they are deceased ones, but they don't have the death certificate which will give them the mandate to clear their names. And for that matter, going ahead to do that without the death certificate is arbitrary and discriminatory. They also admit that the 76,000 Togolese allegation They follow due process to have their name registered. And for that matter, it is arbitrary for them to expunge their name from the register. So what are the process they are using to clean the register they are talking about?
They do have a timetable they are working with, a calendar they are working with.
I'm not thinking of a timetable. I'm thinking about credible register for the good people in this country.
So what do you want now? A replacement of the existing role?
And then if we read the findings of the VCRC committee, the electoral commission ought to comply with that finding since it is their own committee report. I did not set that committee. They set up the committee to investigate the issues raised by the civil society.
Okay,
so
just a second. Just a second. It's interesting you bring in this committee report, this VCRC Club committee report you speak of. I mean, this is the same committee which, when was constituted earlier, your party had a lot of issues with it. In fact, you mentioned that it was not a credible committee. It wasn't going to serve the interest of Ghanaians. And now you turn around and want to use that same report from that committee as basis
that the committee
for what?
will not serve the interest of Ghanaians.
Your party mentioned that.
My party?
Yes, indeed. The NPP.
I don't remember. My party representative was there. Mapita McMahon represented the party at the forum. It raised a lot of issues. Why are you saying that my party said that the committee?
Your party has held very strong reservations about the work of this committee, claiming that this committee is biased and that this committee is not going to serve the interest of the ordinary Ghanaian. That's what your party is on record as saying.
Granted that somebody said that, it's not an official communique from the party. The party issued a statement that Peter McMahon will be representing the party at the committee level. And he did go there.
I see. So what do you want done now, essentially?
So now the injunction has been filed and it has been fixed for 6th of April. I think next week, Wednesday, we'll go. We go to the court and see what happens.
If this motion for injunction is granted, you want the process to stall. For how long are you looking at stalling the process?
It will depend how long the matter will last in the court. Based on the documents we will file, evidence will be taken and so on. And this is the case the electoral commission has not even filed their statement of defense. So it depends. If at the end of the day the injunction is granted and they still not even request for extension of time to file their defense whatsoever, then the court will proceed to hear my evidence.
I see. And even bearing in mind the fact that there's a new CI that insists that we need to have elections a bit earlier than we are used to, and that because of that a lot of things have been changed, you still don't care. You want to go ahead and start the process.
What CI? The new CI about the limited registration or
about
what?
The election.
The general election.
Yes, exactly.
And
the process is leading up to it.
The CI, that new CI cannot clear the register for it. It's up to me to make sure that under Ticket 2-1, I'll make sure that I'll pay the highest court of the land to order the electoral commission to do the proper thing if my release are granted at the end of the day.
Right. Mr. Bamfo, many thanks for your time here on News Desk. We'll keep an eye on this and update our viewers accordingly. Many thanks. We really do appreciate your time on the show this morning. That was Kwame Bamfo. He is actually the Bunahafo youth organizer of the opposition New Patriotic Party. He's been speaking to us on that motion he's filed in court. He's seeking an injunction on the limited voter registration exercise, which according to the AC's timetable is supposed to come off on the 28th of April. But per this particular injunction that has been filed, should it be granted, that process may have to stall for a while longer. And the hearing is actually on the 6th of April. We'll be keeping our eyes on that and we'll bring you a lot more later on. And also, we are trying to get a response on this from the Electoral Commission and ask them questions as to why really they failed to even file a defense in the first place. Remember, there are 2 cases of similar nature already in court, and they're still battling it out. So we'll bring you a lot more on this a bit while. But let's now go back to that story of a sacked army recruits, where a parent of one of the victims has been appealing to the authorities to reconsider the dismissed recruits because of the impact on the current action, the impact of that particular action on the lives of their children and indeed the future as a whole. The parent, who we will refer to for now as Mr. Sante, just to protect his identity, joins us on phone now. with a lot more, particularly how he feels to continue to take care of an unemployed son. Mr. Santi, good morning. Thank you very much for joining us, and we really appreciate your time.
Thank you. Good morning.
So let's find out from you, fathering a son who I'm sure you were very happy when he got enlisted into the military, but then some way, somehow, he had to be dismissed. Really, how's the situation like with your son?
Thank you, and good morning to your listeners.
Right.
It's very, very terrible because this is a young man who, throughout his life, his aim is just to join the military because of the morale, you know. And we have to convince him to, when he finishes the GSS, we have to talk to him, convince him to go to SS before he can be enlisted into the Ghana Armed Forces. Here he is, got enlisted after 1 year recruitment exercise, got enlisted into the armed forces, and then all of a sudden he was sent back home without fault of his. You can just imagine the emotional trauma he's going through now. Every day and now we have to talk to him because we are afraid that he may even commit suicide because all of his life is military. You see, before the incident happened, they are supposed to pass up square. I mean, when you pass up square, that means your training schedule will be reduced. So they were polishing their shoe ready for the pass up square the following day before the incident happened. You can just imagine. Economically, it's dependent on us, everything you have to provide for him. Meanwhile, we also thought that by now he should be on his own. So it's a very terrible blow to the family.
Much as we sympathize with you, sir, one would ask whether or not your son actually did what we are told that they did. These recruits who have been sacked, we're told that they failed to abide by the codes, the standards. They went contrary to the regulations. Really, did they give you any reasons for defying such an order?
There was nothing like that. It seems our people, the authorities, are economical with the truth. They have a petition. When the thing happened first, what happened? They have a backstarter. A backstarter is a senior recruit of theirs. He's supposed to pass out earlier, but because of the medical ground, he was added to their group. Okay. That's the second batch. Now, because he has gone through most of the drills, most of them, the instructors give him instruction to, to give him to, or he leads some of the drills, give instruction to the recruits. So it's more or less like a junior instructor. So what actually happened that evening was that they were, as I said earlier, he is in Alpha company. They were divided into 3 companies, Alpha, Bravo, and Charlie. My brother is in the Alpha company. The thing happened in Charlie. Now, these senior recruits came around, called them to fall in. And the military, you have to obey, you don't have to question authority. And march them that they should dress in black and white. They are out in attire. March them to the square, and then he went into the CEO office, Bangalore, to call the officer to come. So when the officer came, then he said that these people said they wanted to, there about 35 of them, they wanted to go home. Then the people were shocked, the recruits were shocked, because they were just following orders. Then he asked them, anyone who wanted to go home should step forward. None of them stepped forward. That means they were not ready to go home. And they went back to their dormitories. So everything was, they thought it's one of the normal. And they have a drill they call annoyance parade. That's the time they call you midnight, just put you on parade, give you all sort of annoyance, just to train you for how to control your anger. So they thought it's one of those parades. Until the answer commander came later on, that this is what happened. They refused to take command. So they were shocked. And then the military, the training they give them, they don't have to challenge authority. You can't ask questions. That's the most difficult
So you are suggesting your son just followed orders. He didn't do anything wrong. He was just going according to the code.
They are just following orders. And meanwhile, he was not part of that company, more or less that plateau. There are about 4 498. That means 2 of them ran away during training. And military training, when you go, by the first 2 weeks, if you're able to survive, you can stand the rest of the training. How could somebody do training for 2 good men, ready to pass out or square the next day and say he doesn't want to join the military anymore, he wants to go home?
From what you said, do you think there's cause or reason for authorities at the Ghana Armed Forces to want to just push away these recruits?
Yes. Now, let me give you one scenario.
Okay.
Now, it's a normal routine that when they are going to the school, what happens is that they drop them at Afienya, let them carry their bags, and run to the school, the training school.
Okay.
But let the new CEO stop them, stop the instructors for performing that activity. So when they got to the school, the second one is when they got to the school, instead of the recruit themselves carrying their bags from the track, the instructors carry the CEO instructed the instructors to carry their bags.
I see.
Then at times they say they give them refreshment, yogurt, and deny the instructors. If you are in the shoe of the instructors, what do you think will happen?
So you think the inspectors are peeved and they are just meting out punishments to these recruits?
That is my humble opinion. And they are trying to transfer it to these innocent boys.
Right. Asante, many thanks for your time.
Secondly, when they came back, they brought them to Accra. That they told them that they are just coming to spend Xmas and then they will call them back. And they warned them not to talk to the media, anybody. So from the beginning, when I was trying to take this issue, my brother said, no. He doesn't want any listen. You see, so the whole news, the 4 rumors went around and they, painted them black. Now that they've come out that they have started that before, they are trying to, speak up.
Right. Okay. So, Asante, many thanks for your time this morning on News Desk, and we'll get in touch with you as and when need be. And that was a friend we had to call, Mr. Asante. He's actually a brother of one of the sacked recruits. He's been narrating to us what really he's also been told by his brother about all the things leading to their dismissal. Indeed, or all he claims, the brother says, is that they were just following protocol. They were following orders, and they did nothing contrary to the laws. That's contradictory to what we are really being told from the military. We'll keep an eye on this and follow up on this situation, because clearly, as you are aware, about 35 of these recruits who have been sacked are currently at the headquarters of the ruling NDC. They've picketed there. They say they want an intervention in this particular issue. They want the ruling NDC to intervene and get them back to their commands. We'll be keeping an eye on this and bring you a lot more. But time now for us to take a break here on News Desk. When we come back, we have a lot more stories for you. Stay with us.